and all that, little local band in Chester, PA. I was like born into it. Like he had like a home studio, and we used to like sing and rap. You know what I mean? Cut little demos and stuff like that. When I got to like 11, 12, he put me onto this program called FL Studio and Cuban Reasons, and I just started like making beats, just playing around with it. And when I got to like the 8th grade, I had like broke both of my hands playing football. Yeah. So I was home, you know what I mean, cast up, and I just really started like making beats and just getting hooked on FL, and that's really how I started, you know what I mean?
One of the things that I think, aside from the fact that your music is what it is and the talent you have a tag on your records that people just can't forget.
Yeah.
How did that tag come into play, man?
Well, when I was like making records with like local dudes, they wouldn't like shout me out, so nobody would know that I did the beat. So I had my niece like just rap on like the track, just playing around, and then she was like, "Jahlil Beats, holla at me." And it sounded like Jungle Beats, but she was like 3, you know what I mean? And I was just listening to it, and I just took it and made it to a tag, you know what I mean?
So everybody knows, last few years you've done some major records. How do you feel like you got to the level you're at? What do you think are some of the main things that you've done with your own career that have helped you, aside from just the music side of it? What do you think has got you where you are right now?
I always believed in myself. I always believed that I was gonna be here, you know what I mean? And I think that's what it was, just believing in yourself and grinding non-stop. You gotta live it. If you're going to do this as a professional, if this is going to be your job, then you gotta live it, you gotta believe in yourself, you know what I mean? And always just staying humble and, original.
What about Meek, man? You worked with Meek for a while. How did you guys link up?
I got it with Meek off of MySpace. He did like a mixtape called Flamers One, and it was like, he was like really heating up in the streets. But he really didn't have that record, you know what I mean? And I just hit him up like, yo, this mixtape is dope, and I had beats on my MySpace on the player. He was like, yo, send me some joints, and I sent him 3 beats. The Tony Story beat, it was this record called Hottest in the City, and some record called So Fly. And he did all 3 of them, and he was just like, he had got locked up right after that. So one day he just called me from jail like, yo, let's get it when I get out. We would talk like every other week, you know what I mean? So, as soon as he got out, he just kept his promise, and we just locked in the studio, and we just became like brothers.
And you guys were working together a while before he really started to smoke up, like in the MG and all that.
Yeah, like 2008, and then he kind of like got his shot like 2011.
So do you feel maybe like, giving to do some records and working with him because of the talent level that he had and what you had, and the synergy you guys created, like he kind of came back for you, and he was like, when I get my deal with my situation gets right, I'm gonna still work with you because we've worked together for a while.
Right. Well, I mean, I wouldn't really say that. It was just like, we used each other, you know what I mean? It was like, I never really asked him for nothing. I just was like, yo, I was just happy to be there. I was just happy for the opportunity. So when he signed with Ross, I think about 5 months later, I signed with Jay. You know what I mean? And we were just rocking from there. We did Dreamchasers 2. You know what I mean? We had Burn, Amen, Flex, and all that. You know what I mean?
Did you think the I'm a Boss record was gonna get as big as it got?
Nah, definitely not. And that's the thing, like, you know what I mean? You never know what record is gonna blow. The record was out like a year before it really blew. We dropped it in like December 2010, and then it blew up. He did like one video with like a spiff, and then it blew up in the clubs. It blew up, like Flex was playing it all crazy, and then they put money behind it, the label.
It's definitely, for this time and age, there's not been classic records, I guess you could say, because there's so many records that come out.
Yeah.
And I think over the last 5 years, that's probably the classic record, I think, that people are going to take away from this era. You know what I'm saying? You can play it in the club no matter what time it is, no matter what state you're in, no matter what, what DJ it is. That's the song that comes on and everybody just loses their shit.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
It's just crazy because it's like, we didn't know how big it was going to be. And then like next thing you know, like the Eastern All-Star team came out to the beat, and then it was on like NBA 2K. It was just crazy.
So it's an organic opportunity. The 2 people that created it, it's wonderful. Absolutely. So talk about, you know, your road to where you are now. You know, like you said, you recently signed to Jay, the whole Roc Nation situation. How did that come about? What was the process in order to make that happen?
Really, it was just like sheer buzz. Like, I was in like a bin war. I'm not even gonna list the labels that I was in a bin war with, but it was so many labels trying to get at me and Meek Mill. And you know, Jay just reached out, Jay and Tata and Emery just reached out to me, and it was like fans. You know what I mean, like I'm a Boss was Jay's favorite record at the time, and he just reached out to me, and I couldn't believe it. Like when Emery called me, like, yo, this is Emery, this is Jay, like that's like his best friend, like his right hand man. He was like, yo, Jay wanna holler at you. And I was just like, nah. And then they had an intern reach out to me on Twitter, and I was like, ignoring him for like 2 months.
You're like, yeah, okay, Jay-Z wanna holler at me, okay.
It was just like surreal, you know what I mean? So when I finally came to the office, they finally got me to the office, and Tata was like, yo, you need to be rocking with us. And I still wasn't gonna sign, you know what I mean, because the business side of it, you know, but they gave me like an offer I couldn't refuse.
Yeah, I bet. So you signed Roc Nation. What type of opportunity did they provide for you so far? 'Cause I know you're definitely working on a lot of projects right now.
Well, you know, I was working with Jay until like Timbo stepped in and then changed the whole chain around. But we got some records. I'm sure they're gonna land somewhere. You know, I was on Leona Lewis album. I did Trouble with Childish Gambino. You know, they got me everywhere, as well as other stuff, you know what I'm saying? Outside of music.
Well, you got an artist you work with too, right? Yourself, you're an artist as well, right?
Yeah, I got a cat called, by the name of Roc from out Philly, real dope. Yeah, he's coming next.
That's what it is. Let them know about Philly. I mean, anybody in the building from Philly? DMV area? I know in the building.
Where y'all from?
New York.
New York. Y'all in
VA.
Okay.
Yeah, man. Well, if you're not familiar with it, I'm sure you see it in the songs and the videos. I mean, Philly's been a hotbed of music for the last few years. Meek, you know what I'm saying? Obviously.
Gil coming up now.
Gilly, absolutely. Chris.
Yeah, Chris Free. Cat named Chill Booty.
And also Cardiac.
Cardiac from Jersey. Yeah,
No, that's right.
Super dope. Yeah.
Absolutely. So talk about the sound of Philly. Do you feel like Philly has a sound? Is there a certain reason why Philly's really being looked at like that right now?
I feel like when me and Meek started, we was doing like club music, like up tempo. If anybody followed our movement, we was doing like club music, like the Rose Red, Make 'Em Say, stuff like that. And we really like wanted to change the sound because like he had the streets on fire, but we didn't have no sound to identify the streets. So I did a record called Willy Wonka, and I think Wayne took it after that. But Meek had did a freestyle to it, and that kind of like birthed that sound, that I'm a Boss sound, that burn sound, you know what I mean? And everybody uses like, I hear like the up and coming producers use the sound, it's like, that's cool, you know what I mean? It's a dope thing.
Well, how important is it for these new guys to have the sound though?
It's very important. That's how you get identified, you know what I mean? You look at all the greats and the soon-to-be greats, they all different. You look at dudes like Mike Will or Hit Boy, you know what I'm saying? Even Cardiac, you know what I mean? Boy Wonder, they don't sound like Swiss, they don't sound like Pharrell, they don't sound like Timbo, you know what I mean? So, you know.
Well, you know, talent actually runs in your family, right?
Yeah.
Aside from your pops, the brother, you know who his brother is?
Yeah.
Oh, the Beat Bully?
Yeah, he did Stay Scheming, he did the intro for me. He got boatload of records. I did it for my dogs for the Cali album.
Crazy.
MIA for Mariana.
What's the competition like with you guys? You guys real competitive?
When we was kids, we was, but now it's just like, you know, we just proud of each other. Man. It's just like, you know, I taught him how to make beats, you know what I mean? So it's just, it makes me feel great, you know what I mean? And it makes me look good, you know what I mean? At the same time, you know what I mean?
Y'all clap your hands for Jahlil for being with us, man. You come to Miami often though, right?
Yeah, I'm always
out here at the studio. That's what it is. Give these guys a little advice though. You know, being younger in the game and still having some time to grow into the producer you still want to be and create longevity for yourself and whatnot. I'm sure there's certain things that you've learned along the way. What can you share with these guys?
Patience. You gotta have patience. Like, nothing's gonna happen overnight. It's never gonna happen when you want it to happen. It's just about grinding. That's inevitable. If you work hard, it's gonna happen at some point, you know what I mean? Just don't give up, you know what I mean? And that's all it's about. It's about, you know, you gotta have the will to make it. You know what I mean? You gotta be dedicated, you gotta go hard. And that's all it's about, really. And then you gotta be talented. You gotta be talented, that's the first thing. But, you know, it's really 30% talent, 70% grind, you know what I'm saying? Maybe 80%, 20%, you know what I mean? So it's just about grinding, making them connections, getting out, you know, making a sacrifice. Like when I started, I was about 20. I had a studio apartment. Like I was sacrificing my rent, you know what I mean, to take flights to, you know what I mean? I don't know how to pay my rent, but I'm gonna go catch this flight, you know what I mean? I'm gonna go in the studio with somebody, you know what I mean? That's how I know.
What do you think the next level for you is, man? What do you think is like the next step for you?
Really, you know, making my brand stronger, you know, starting a label, and really just making the brand stronger and doing a lot of stuff outside of music, you know what I mean? That's the next step. I feel like, you know, once you get in the game, it's kind of, if you making beats every day and sending them off or, you know, making them right connections, it's kind of easy, you know what I'm saying? So you want to be known as a brand. You look at Swizz Beats, with his situation with Reebok and Monster and, you know, all his ventures, that's keeping him relevant outside of music. He might drop 2 records a year, but, you know, he's Swizz Beats, you know what I mean? You're going to see him everywhere. Same thing with Pharrell, with the fashion side, with Billionaires Boys Club, and everything he's doing, and Jay, you know what I mean? So, you know, I'm just trying to build my brand, you know what I mean, as well as making music.
Absolutely. Well, you know, we were talking about yesterday, it's like so important for the producer because right now, you guys have more of an identity than you had in the past.
Yeah.
Producer was always the guy like making beats in grandma's basement, you know, not really being out front.
I mean, to a certain extent, because, I mean, I feel like it's kind of hard. It's a gift and a curse. I mean, it's easier to kind of get on because of the internet era, but you got dudes like Timbo and Pharrell and all them Polo. Them dudes is they were superstars, like superstars. You know what I mean? That's because more albums was coming out, bigger budgets and stuff like that. You know what I mean? And it's different now, where you might get a few, maybe 4 major label albums coming out a year, 100 mixtapes. You know what I'm saying? So I feel like you really gotta, you really gotta put in work to be in that limelight. You know what I mean? I'm 24/7 putting out mixtapes. You know, I rap a little bit, so I play around with the rapping and stuff like that. I got a couple videos on MTV Jams and stuff like that. So you gotta always be seen if you want to be that type of level. You know what I mean? Because I feel like, honestly, I feel like it's way harder. Yeah.
Definitely, a gift and a curse, right?
Yeah.
All right. Well, we got something special for Jahlil. He is our honoree this year, Coast to Coast Convention.
Oh, that's dope.
So we had to identify the fact. Came all the way from Philly to rock with us.
Appreciate that.
Coast to Coast honoree, Convention 2013. Homeboy Jahlil. Is his house back there? Fast? You get a house over here? Take some pictures. Grab a house. One time, clap it up with Jahlil. Catch him at Jahlil Beats. Right on Twitter? Okay.
At Jahlil Beats on Twitter and Instagram.
That's what it is. Just sir, before you actually get on stage, tonight you guys know about the festival. Nobody on the stage at all, please. Festival, I think the first bus leaves at what, 7:30? Head over to the festival?
Sky Zoo performing, right?
Sky Zoo, Torre, free, got side. Okay, so Jahlil will be there tonight as well.
Anybody got like some demos or anything, just put them on the desk. I want to hear some shit.
That's what it is, alright? So we'll give you guys 15 minutes to network a little bit, and then we'll get right into the main event show. So one time clap it up for these dudes, man, all the producers, Jahlil,